Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about two separate incidents where officers negligently discharged firearms. The first video, the officer accidentally shoots a man in the leg with his own gun. The second incident, a deputy during a high-risk vehicle stop negligently shoots her gun into the windshield of the car. This is the Shots Fired podcast. I'm Mark Rutherford. To my left is Kyle Schoberg.
All right, let's break down the first video, which comes out of Jacksonville, Florida, when officers pull over a man for running a red light. It's a traffic violation. During the contact, he actually admits to officers he has a concealed firearm on his person, which he's legally allowed to have. They decide to pull him out of the car to remove the firearm, and that's when officers accidentally shoot him in the leg with his own gun. Let's watch the video, break it down, and talk about why this happened and if it could have been avoided.
Lower your windows, all of them. What's up, my man? Hey, you got a valid driver's license, proof of insurance, all that good stuff? Hey, you blew that red light.
The light was yellow and turned red when I went out there.
It was red when you blew it.
It was yellow.
Okay. Well, I saw it. It was red. So.
I saw it too.
All right. Well, you got a proof of insurance?
Yeah.
Just hang tight. You got a.
Yeah, I'm not with my
You got anything crazy in the car?
Yeah.
What do you got?
A gun.
You got a gun? You do? All right. Where's that? It's on you? Okay. As long as you're cool. And...
I'm chill. I ain't finna lie to you.
No, man. I appreciate your honesty.
I ain't finna. I ain't got time to lie.
That's awesome. So you have concealed carry and all that good stuff? No, you don't. All right. You're not a convicted felon, right? Nothing.
I do everything, whatever.
Okay.
You do,
All right. So what we're gonna do is, just for my safety, your safety, I'm gonna have you step out. All right. Fair enough. And we're just gonna remove the pistol from you, and then we're gonna run your license, make sure everything's good, and I'm gonna send you on your way.
Get out this way.
Yeah. Just hang tight. Just do me a favor. Lower that window. Hey, he's very compliant. He does have a pistol on him, so we're gonna take him out from that side, remove the pistol, and we'll go from there. All right.
Get out.
Yeah. Yeah, you're good.
On my side.
Still, it's fine evening for good.
I appreciate it, man, being very
Oh,
honest.
yeah, all right.
Oh, shit.
You okay?
Hey,
Put the gun down.
go down.
You okay?
You got shot in the leg.
Rescue 1068.
HQ 2162. Hey, rescue 1068, 1020. 1020.
Where's your pistol at? On my side.
Okay. What's up? Your hands on top of the vehicle for me? I appreciate it, man, being very
Oh,
honest.
yeah, all right.
Oh, shit.
You okay? Put the gun down.
Put it down.
You okay? Nope.
Yes, down. Thanks.
Rescue 1068. Let's go.
All right, so we watched the video. It's pretty short. A lot happens, obviously, in that short amount of time. And it's unfortunate this guy gets shot. But there actually is a decent amount to talk about, some training things. I think there's a couple options when you contact somebody who admits to having a firearm on them. They're legally allowed to possess it. What are your initial thoughts when... Because, I mean, this video has been spiraling online. What do you think?
I watched it quite a few times, and my initial thought is there is a traffic violation for running a red light. I like the officer going up, recognizing that there's tinted windows, and he's using a higher command voice saying, hey, roll all the windows, roll all the windows. You're doing that so you can see in the car because you don't want to pass the back seat and not know who's in there. So I like the tactic, and I would actually recommend doing that, and I have done that. You want to get the windows down, make sure you can see into the vehicle. Then he walks up and really casually starts talking to the person. To me, it's a little too casual. I want a little more professionalism, but he is downplaying, and he's trying to create a relationship with the driver and just basically tell him why he stopped. The driver is like, no, I went through the light on a yellow. So real quick on that, a lot of people think if you're in the intersection when it's yellow and then it turns red and you're still in the intersection, it's a violation. That's actually not true. So if you enter the intersection and it's yellow, you have the right to remain in other flows of traffic. You have the right to continue your path of travel. So even if you slow down, it turns red, and you're still in the intersection because you're traveling slow, you're still lawfully in lawfully able to drive through the intersection.
So hold on. I think the easiest way to say that, just so everybody knows, is if the light is red by the time you get to the limit line, you cannot cross the limit line. If it's still yellow, you are allowed to cross over the limit line until the light turns red.
That's literally exactly what I said.
Yeah,
anyway,
your version was a little confusing, but
yeah,
go
it was.
ahead.
Sorry. Okay, so yes. The driver's like, no, it was yellow. Nonetheless, you're past that. He asks for the information and stuff. And then he ends up asking, hey, do you have anything? I can't even remember exactly what he said, but anything crazy in the car?
Yeah.
And the driver was nonchalantly like, yeah. And he's like, well, what? He's like, I have a gun. Which to me, I'm looking at that going, this is a lawful person that can legally own the gun. If someone is not allowed to have a gun, they're not going to tell you. And in a lot of places and counties, you have a CCW, depending on the county, you're actually required to tell an officer that you have a CCW, even if you don't have the gun with you. You are required, based on the CCW in a county, to tell the officer, yes, I have a CCW, though I don't have a gun with me, or I have a CCW. And in this case, he disclosed that, and he's not even worried about it at all.
Okay, so he's like, yep, I have a gun. And here's where we had a brief conversation. I think you have two options. One, you leave the driver where he's at and tell him to put his hands on the steering wheel, knowing he's got a firearm on him. He's being cooperative. Go have your cover officer stand at the door, watch him, make sure obviously he doesn't try to reach for it. Go back to your car, write your citation if that's what you choose to do, and then give him a ticket, move on with your day. Option 2 is what they went with. Pull him out of the car, remove the firearm from him, then go back, write the citation or run him out, whatever it is that you choose to do, and then, I guess give the gun back to him, go about your day. I don't think we had a disagreement because I didn't really give my opinion either way, but you immediately came to a conclusion of what you would have done.
Yeah, and I actually, in this situation, I disagree with pulling the driver out of the car. The reality is of this stop, and he's telling the driver, you've been stopped for red light violation. That's an infraction. If your intent is to write a citation and continue on the way. He's saying he's legal to own that. Safety is paramount. Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. That's why you should ask for another officer for safety so you're not losing sight of the driver. At no point, if you're by yourself, would I ever walk away from that car. I would keep my eyes on the driver.
I would not either.
Yeah. But another officer is on scene. I would communicate with them, hey, come up to my side. I would want them on my side and say, hey, he's telling me he has a gun. He's saying he's lawful. Just keep his hands on the wheel or keep your hands on the wheel. I'm going to go back. I'm going to run the person, issue a citation if I choose to or not, give him basically saying, hey, don't run red lights anymore. And then I would let the person go. That's what I would do. I don't like the fact that they're choosing to take this person out of the car because he has a gun. And my thought of that is he's stating that he's a lawful owner of a CCW or carry concealed weapon on his person, and he's willingly telling you that, and he's showing no signs, and his voice isn't showing any influx of something that I need to be concerned about. It'd be different if he was acting much different, really moving around. That changes the scenario. In this situation, I don't think he needs to come out of the car.
Yeah, I agree. I think someone who's honest with you and tells you that they have a firearm on them. And look, like I've pulled over people too who are not supposed to have firearms on them. And you ask them like, hey, are there any guns in the car or whatever? And they'll be like, yeah, I've got a gun on me. And they're not supposed to. Even then, I still think you need to be cool about it. And okay, well, you got to tell them, if you make any movements towards the gun or like whatever I tell you not to do, like, force could be used against you. I may shoot you. And so I think in this case, yeah, I agree. I would keep him in the car. I would give him commands to do, because if he does anything other than what I'm telling him to do, then that's when the red flags are going to start to go up. So like if I say, hey, okay, cool, you have a gun on you, I would say, where is it? Without reaching for it, just tell me, verbalize where it is. It's on my hip. All right, awesome. Put your hands on the steering wheel and don't take them off. If he does that and he complies with you, I would go back. I would leave my partner there, go back. Hey, make sure this guy's even allowed to have the gun.
Yeah.
If he's illegally allowed to possess it. If he is, I would probably just go about my business, leave him in the car. And that's how I think, like we always talk about this, but like I always feel like when cops get in situations like that where it's like, oh God, this guy's got a gun on him, like I'm supposed to remove the gun from him, because in the academy and in training and everything that you're always taught, like every time someone has a weapon on them, you're always taught to remove it. I don't think you're ever really taught to like leave it on their person.
You're right. That's not something that's not really discussed.
No, it isn't. So it throws cops for a loop when they do realize like someone has a weapon on them, but they're actually legally allowed to have it. And we're in a state where, yeah, you can have a CCW, but there are some states where you don't need that. Like people can just carry weapons.
Open
on
carry
them.
and concealed carry. Yeah. But
Yeah,
in this case, good.
No, it's fine. And maybe they're taught how to deal with that differently. Like, I don't know. We don't work in a state like that, but this is a little different. And so I feel like they got in that in a weird spot of like, they felt like they had to take him out and remove the threat from the guy, which obviously would have been the gun. But yeah, I don't like the dude's being compliant. Like just leave him in the car, give him a command to do something. If he's doing it, like a simple thing of like, keep your hands on the wheel.
Yeah. And most people that have gone through the training, the required state training, the testing, and the proficiency of actually demonstrating you can shoot a gun, how to carry it, they already know what to do, and they don't want to lose that because it is hard in a lot of places to get that CC in the states that you need that. It is hard.
Well, you even hear him in the video. He was like, the cop was like, hey, he was being cool.
Oh yeah.
The cop was being cool, but he was like, even the driver was like, yeah, man, like, dude, I don't want, like, I ain't doing nothing you tell me to do. Like he knew.
Yeah, he does. He's saying, hey,
he was being
because
cool.
He's probably required in that portion of the county that he's in. But this is also where I feel like videos like this are going to want people to not tell the officer they have a CCW, because most likely he'd probably just get a ticket or be on his way, and you never disclose that.
And you want to know what would have happened if he didn't say it, and if someone saw it on his hip or something.
Well,
their guns are
totally different story.
Yeah,
but it makes people consider, well, especially at the end when he gets shot in his own leg. Maybe I don't want to tell the officer that. I think you should. I mean, it's required in certain counties. I think you should, and I think officers just need to have the ability to recognize people's body language and what they're doing. And
well, what about like cops who get pulled over and they have guns on them? Like, hey, I've got a firearm on me. I mean, I think even being a cop and having a gun on you and like being pulled over, like I've heard of circumstances where cops pull cops out of the car to remove the gun. It's like,
well, I think that's the same OODA loop that we're talking about, where they don't have that ability to think outside the box.
Okay, so whatever, they end up pulling him out of the car. That's the decision that they chose to do. And the one officer, she goes to pull the firearm out of his waistband, which was in a holster, and unfortunately accidentally grabs a trigger or pulls the trigger and shoots him in the leg. It looks like she must have hit him in the artery or the femoral artery, because I mean he's
a lot of blood.
Yeah, so they did remain calm. Nobody freaked out. Like, I'll give him that for sure. Even the guy that got shot, like I don't know, he probably was in shock, but he wasn't even freaking out, screaming, nothing. They grab him and pull him off, and then end up putting a tourniquet on him. So it's an unfortunate circumstance. Like, I guess when you're pulling guns off people or dealing with any type of firearm, you got to make sure where your fingers are at, and do not put your fingers on the trigger, especially if it's in someone's waistband or anywhere near. You just shouldn't put your finger on the trigger at all. Like, you never put your finger on the trigger. You're not supposed to. So,
well, I look at that. Look, if you're watching how his hands are like up, his hands aren't actually controlled, and then she's reaching under. I imagine she's uncomfortable. It looks odd to me, and I'll tell you what, if I'm taking someone out of a car because they have a gun on them, I am controlling one arm. The other officer with me is controlling the other. Their arms are coming around their back, and they're being handcuffed and controlled. Then I will move a shirt and look for that gun. I'm not taking a gun off of a person with another officer with their hands up.
Yeah,
you're at a total disadvantage, and I'd like to think that this officer felt very uncomfortable and like reaching around and just like
the searching tactics were not good.
Yeah.
Knowing he has a firearm, and the reason they took him out of the car was to take it off. Yeah, like the searching tactics are not good.
Yeah,
I mean, you see that all the time where cops are telling people, put your hands on the hood of the car, and they're like searching them. Like, that's not how you should be searching. You should be searching people in a controlled manner, and every single time you take somebody out of a car, should always be in a control hold, like every single time.
So she ends up shooting him, and then the officer that was off to the back of the car, he did outstanding. He actually controlled the situation. He told her, hey, he recognized like this is not going well. Like, just put the gun down. Like,
yeah.
At that point, unfortunately, that officer cannot demonstrate that they know how to handle a gun safely. So I like what he said. Just said, put it down, because she's in some form of shock. You don't know how she's holding it or where it's pointed. Put it down. I like how he said that. She put it down. And then the other officer was like, all right, well, I got to get you over here to a safe place. And then immediately started putting a tourniquet on him. And the other officer that was like, hey, put the gun down, immediately called for an ambulance. I mean, it was stellar work between the two of them.
You don't know the history of this other officer who accidentally shot him in the leg. Who knows what their history is? She obviously ended up getting fired out of this whole ordeal. Right, wrong, or indifferent, we don't know the backstory behind that. That there could have been a lot of things leading up to that where they're like, all right, this is it. Like, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, you're done. Who knows? It doesn't matter. But it's unfortunate. All right. There's another video that surfaced this week that's been going all over social media, and that's a deputy in Southern California. Why does it always have to be California? Does a felony traffic stop, and as she's getting out of the vehicle, pulls her gun to draw down on the vehicle, fires one round accidentally into the suspect vehicle. Luckily, doesn't strike anybody. But what she says afterwards is worth talking about. Let's watch the video and talk about that one.
Deputies with the Lakewood station on June 7th, 2022. One of the deputies shooting into their car just as her body camera activates. You can see the gunshot in the rear window and hear the deputy's reaction.
Oh my God, that's all I needed. All right, let's just start pulling out. They said they're all okay, and then if we put it out on the radio, it's gonna cause chaos.
Okay, so this is the second video to come out this week with a negligent discharge. This time it was the deputy shooting into the suspect vehicle during a felony traffic stop. Clearly, we need to be talking about finger discipline and trigger discipline, because I'm not sure what's going on, but when you're drawing a firearm from any type of holster, why are you putting your finger on the trigger? Luckily, in this case, the people inside the vehicle did not get shot, but lawsuits are flying from this one.
How can you argue against that? I don't understand either, because her gun is coming up and it's starting to point in the direction where you want it to be pointed. And that's when the negligent discharge happens. So, I mean, you're squeezing. I don't know. I mean, I've just so much training with guns and the safety, and it's ingrained in you. I just don't understand how that happens, other than absolutely not paying attention and not having enough reps. And I think, again, that goes back to training, why it's so important to train constantly. And I don't know the situation, how much training she has, how long she's been on the department, if it's a new holster, a different gun. I mean, there's all kinds of variables, but it all trickles down to your finger cannot be on the trigger. That's the number one safety thing. And when you pull your firearm, you can't be in a position where you're squeezing the trigger.
Yeah, it's almost like, it's a little bit of stress and then not indexing your finger properly. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why your first thought would be to put your finger on the trigger unless you plan on shooting your firearm. But yeah, I don't know. She does make the comment about, hey, like, let's not put that over the radio because that's just going to cause a bunch of chaos. And she's absolutely right. If you put that out over the radio, which would have been if somebody would have said shots fired, like, you're going to cause so much undue stress and chaos amongst a lot of other people who are going to respond to that scene who they don't need to. Nobody outside of that needed to know about that right then and there. Deal with the problem at hand, I think, and then you got to make the call to your supervisor if they're obviously not on scene, and you got to start making those notifications about what happened. Obviously, right? That's a serious issue. I did like the call that it was like, don't say that over the radio right now because that's going to cause a lot of problems.
She did do a great job with the radio traffic. She even said, this is just what I don't need right now. Let's just pull them out of the car. Like, she recognized it was a problem, but also remained at task and didn't just
calm,
shut down and stop.
Yeah.
The video, it's a very short video. I wonder if other officers arrived and she pulled her off to the side, or she pulled off to the side, which I think would be appropriate. But until she could be relieved, she at least held what she was supposed to do. I imagine those people in the car were pretty freaked out from that.
Yeah, 100%.
And the other officers, like, unless there was only a couple officers there, the communication should be quick, letting other people know, like, hey, this is accident or something, so nobody else thinks there's some type of sympathy fire going on. So it is lucky that other people didn't start shooting.
Yeah, because if she shoots, other cops might think maybe someone drew a firearm. They're already doing a felony traffic stop. So the risk and the danger is already it's already elevated. And then now someone shoots around. What if an officer thought, or a deputy thought, that someone from in the car shot out?
Yeah.
And then it could have been all bad. I agree. Like, I don't know. I think maybe everyone realized what happened, luckily, and that didn't happen. But
well, I think the cardinal rule of both of these videos that it's coming at is gun safety, handling guns safely, understanding how to take them off of a person if the person is compliant, and also unholstering your weapon. Like, that's why training is so important. So I think I would almost recommend at this point to practice taking an unloaded safe gun for training purposes, put them on different people in different positions, and practice taking that out.
Yeah.
So you don't do that.
Yeah, both that and then drawing your firearm, without putting your finger on the trigger.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody was, the people in the felony vehicle were pretty lucky in this. And then that first video, he bled a lot. It's a good thing they put the tourniquet on him.
Yeah. I have a quick question for you.
Yes.
I want to know where does this come from, dude?
Oh, this?
Yeah, what is this?
Oh, I'm not really sure. Maybe
this is that's like your new signature move.
Yeah, well, 2 separate videos.
We should get a picture of you on a t-shirt with you just posing like that.
Just like unbelievable. All right, let's wrap this up.
All right. That's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys on the next video. Thank you.
Stay safe and be smart.